Everyone talks about how beautiful Northern Michigan is.
So beautiful.
The water, the sunsets, the charm. But if you're thinking about retiring here, you deserve to hear the honest version of what it's really like to retire in Northern Michigan. I'm not going to just give you what it's like to vacation here. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly what it's like to live year-round in Northern Michigan. I'm going to tell you the things that people love and also the things that people hate but didn't realize until they actually moved here. My name is Gino D'Angelo, and I'm a local Northern Michigan real estate broker, and I've helped hundreds of families retire right here in Northern Michigan. Petoskey, Harbor Springs, Traverse City, Charlevoix, and even Boyne City are all the places that people dream about retiring. And after years of doing this, I've heard of every rumor, every myth, and every expectation. So in this video, think of us, we're in Roast and Toast or sitting down in Northport Coffee, enjoying a cup of coffee and talking about what it's really like to live in Northern Michigan. I'm going to give you the straight answers and tell you the stuff that really matters if you're thinking about retiring here. And if you're serious about retiring in Northern Michigan, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss a video. One of the myths I hear all the time is that Northern Michigan only has 2 seasons, summer and the rest of the year. The summer reality is that it's really busy here, but in a fun way. The towns come alive, the marinas fill up, and the restaurants are hopping. You'll wait for a table in every restaurant up here, and the license plates will all be from other states. Honestly, a lot of retirees enjoy this energy. It feels like having a seasonal festival right out your front door. Then September hits and the kids go back to school and the entire region exhales. This is when retirees say, this is the version of Northern Michigan I fell in love with. Or I feel like I have the whole town to myself. Or even the sunsets hit different this time of year. It's calm, predictable, and peaceful. So if you're someone that wants the best of both worlds, meaning both stimulation and serenity, this area nails it. Another myth I hear is we don't have strong enough healthcare for retirees. The truth is, the healthcare here is truly excellent. In fact, this is one of the first questions I often get from retirees, and rightfully so. They ask me, how is the healthcare in Northern Michigan? The truth is, McLaren, Northern Michigan is one of the top-rated healthcare systems in the entire state. Munson Healthcare over in Traverse City is filled with excellent doctors with fantastic specialists, including imaging, cardiology, and even surgery. And a lot of the smaller towns have great walk-in clinics, urgent cares, and primary care doctors. I recently had a client relocate here to retire from Chicago, and they told me they were surprised with just how solid the healthcare is in this area. And of course, for specialized care, you may have to travel to Detroit, Grand Rapids, or Ann Arbor. But for what 95% of what retirees need, we have it right here in Northern Michigan. In fact, Northern Michigan wouldn't continue to be the destination of choice for a lot of retirees if we didn't have quality healthcare. Another myth I hear is the winters are brutal and you will not survive them. The truth is, they're harsh, but they're not nearly as scary as people think. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We get a ton of snow in Northern Michigan. You'll have to figure out how to clear your driveway. And yes, it gets extremely cold. But here's what a lot of people get wrong. Northern Michigan is built for winter. The roads get plowed very quickly and life doesn't completely shut down. In fact, a lot of retirees enjoy the snow season here in Northern Michigan. I can't tell you how often I'm at the Highlands or at Boyne Mountain or at Nubbs Knob and see a group of retirees skiing down the hill and enjoying everything winter has to offer. In fact, if being active in your retirement is a priority to you, then I think you're going to especially love life in Northern Michigan because there are so many different ways to stay active. Plus, you could also be a part-time snowbird. If you like winter a little bit and not a lot, you can enjoy a couple of the winter months here and then jet down to Florida or Arizona like so many people do. That truly gives you the best of both worlds. Another myth I hear is that if you retire in Northern Michigan, you're going to feel very isolated. And I would say the truth is, it depends entirely on how involved you want to get. Almost every retiree here has told me they made friends way quicker than they expected. And you might be asking, why is that? Because Northern Michigan is truly built around community. There are golf leagues, pickleball leagues, wine clubs, book clubs, garden clubs, volunteer opportunities, walking groups, run clubs, faith communities, and even marina communities. So if you want to be social, Northern Michigan is one of the easiest places to do it. Another myth I hear is it's too expensive to retire in Northern Michigan. Now, yes, there are parts of Northern Michigan that are extremely expensive. If you want to be on the water in Harbor Springs, on the water in Bay Harbor, or on Walloon Lake, you're going to have to spend a lot of money. And look, some people have worked their entire life, made smart decisions, and amassed the amount of money it takes to live in those enclaves and have chosen to do so. If that's not you and you want something a little bit more affordable, there truly is a price point here for everyone. In fact, I just had a client who retired here who had a hard time digesting the prices of Northern Michigan, but once they'd made the jump and bought their dream house and lived in it for a while, they actually called me and told me, Gino, I get it. I understand why it's so expensive to live here, because you're not just buying a house, you're buying into an exclusive lifestyle, no matter how much money you spend. In fact, when you're thinking about the cost of retiring someplace, it's not just the housing cost, although that's probably the biggest one. It's things like property insurance, property taxes, which are both much lower than the national average right here in Northern Michigan. Believe it or not, I read an article online that said you can retire comfortably in Northern Michigan for $55,000 per year. Now, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, and that's certainly not going to give you the shoreline in Harbor Springs, but you can still find a high quality home and live a very affordable life right here in Northern Michigan. Another myth I hear is everything is just too far apart. Yes, you'll definitely need to own a car or two if you're going to retire in Northern Michigan. This is certainly not a walkable region, and we don't have any ride sharing opportunities. But here's why that doesn't bother a lot of retirees. First, outside of a couple of months in the summer, we have next to no traffic here. It's easy to find parking, and the roads are very scenic. Errands feel simple, and the distance on a map looks like it's much further apart than it actually is in reality. In a lot of metro cities, you might have to spend 10 minutes to go a couple blocks. Here, sometimes 10 minutes means just the next town over. So you definitely can go a lot further with your time due to the fact that we don't have as much traffic. No one I've ever worked with has said driving in Northern Michigan is a deal breaker. Another myth I hear is small area means limited dining options. Truth be told, Northern Michigan's food scene surprises people. I've had clients who have traveled the world who tell me that Northern Michigan's food scene rivals any other region around the country or sometimes even around the world. We have great waterfront restaurants, which I think are truly special, award-winning wineries, craft breweries, farm-to-table restaurants, cozy cafes, independently owned ice cream shops. And yes, we even do fine dining well. There's plenty to enjoy here, especially if you're into trying new spots. Another myth I hear is that you have to be outdoorsy to enjoy living in Northern Michigan. And as I mentioned before, if you like being outdoorsy, Northern Michigan is going to be perfect for you. But that doesn't mean you have to be outdoorsy to live here. We have tons of bookstores, coffee shops, and plenty of things to do to keep you indoors during the winter months or even the summer if that's what you choose to do. This region really is about more than just being outside. Some people like to sit on their couch and look out at the water or watch it snow in the wintertime or watch the birds fly by in the spring and are perfectly content doing so. So I hope after watching this video, you understand that retirement in Northern Michigan is far from slow and sleepy. There is tons to do, whether you want to leave your house or not. There's tons of restaurants to try. There's tons of places to grab coffee, bookstores and other boutique shops. There is truly something for everyone in their retirement years right here in Northern Michigan. I've actually had retirees tell me, Gino, we're actually busier in Northern Michigan and our social calendar is more full here than it was in the city. And that's mainly because you actually have time to slow down and make plans with your friends because you're no longer busy working every day. So those are the real truths about retiring in Northern Michigan. Not the brochure, not the postcard, but the real life experience. And if you're thinking about retiring in Northern Michigan, whether it's now or in a couple of years, feel free to reach out and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I love helping retirees figure out which town suits their budget and lifestyle better. It also helps them accomplish their long-term goals. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss a video, and I'll see you on the next one.